In order to establish the value of the floor pads that you'll purchase, 3M has developed the Accelerated Wear Test. This test illustrates the benefits of purchasing superior products that perform consistently throughout the life of the product and last longer than the less expensive competitive products. In other words, the test confirms the premise that it is wise to spend a little more money on 3M Scotch-Brite floor pads in order to control and minimize your labor costs, which comprise 90% of your operating costs. The Accelerated Wear Test evaluates 3M Scotch-Brite floor pads and competitive pads and compares their cleaning capabilities and durability, both as new pads and as pads that have been subjected to aggressive wear. This test will illustrate that 3M pads last longer than competitive pads while continuously outperforming the competition, thereby controlling or actually reducing your operating costs while providing the desired performance results on the floor. The test involves a 3M Scotch-Brite thick stripping pad and a competitive stripping pad. We'll measure the time it takes to remove black crayon marks using new pads and pads that have experienced excessive wear. The technician will make 5 marks on a stripped vinyl tile floor with a spring-loaded crayon, which prevents the operator from applying excessive force to give one pad a more difficult set of marks to remove. Let's start with the Scotch-Brite pad. We add identical amounts of 150 milliliters of water to the marks and start to remove them by passing the 3M black stripping pad over the marks using a standard 175 RPM floor machine. We record the number of passes required to completely remove the marks and record the time taken in order to equalize the possible difference in operator speed. As indicated, it took the Scotch-Brite pad 14 passes and 45 seconds to remove the black marks. The technician will conduct the same test using the competitive stripping pad. Identical crayon marks are applied using the same spring-loaded pencil and the same amount of water and the same floor machine as before. The number of passes is recorded along with the time required to remove the marks. The competitive pad required 25 passes and 82 seconds, an increase of 11 passes when compared to the Scotch-Brite pad. The second stage of the test is to pass the pads 50 times over 3M General Purpose Safety Walk, which is applied to the tile floor. Safety Walk is a very tough, abrasive material that literally tears away the exterior surface of the pads. You can hear the abrasive action and see that the pads are damaged more than any standard stripping procedure. Note the residue that is left after this procedure. The technician will now repeat this procedure with the competitive pad. The competitive pad lost considerably more color, mineral, and chunks of fiber than the Scotch-Brite pad. To equalize operator speed, the time for the 50 passes is recorded. For 3M, the time was 160 seconds. For the competitive pad, the time was 145 seconds. At this stage, both pads are rinsed in clear water in order to remove loose fibers and resin. The final stage is the removal of a second set of black marks using the pads which have experienced excessive wear and abrasion. Again, the number of passes and the time required to completely remove the marks is recorded. This time it took the Scotch-Brite pad 16 passes to remove the marks in 53 seconds. The competitive pad required 54 passes in 174 seconds, an increase of 38 passes. Let's summarize. The total number of passes and the time required to remove both sets of black marks was 30 passes and 98 seconds for 3M. It took the competitive pad 79 passes and 256 seconds. When we average these results, 3M required 15 passes and 49 seconds to get the job done, while the competitive pad required 39.5 passes and 128 seconds. In this example, the Scotch-Brite pad reduced the labor cost by 161%. Obviously, the competitive pad did not stand up to the excessive wear of the Safety Walk material as well as the Scotch-Brite pad. The results indicate that the operator would require more time and labor to complete the job effectively using the less expensive competitive pad. Let's translate these results into an actual application. You are going to strip a 1,000 square foot room. According to the ISSA, the time required to strip a 1,000 square foot room is 2 hours. It will require a 3-person crew with a labor rate of $15 per hour per person. The cost of the chemicals and the equipment is identical, assuming that the operators will use the same chemicals, floor machine, mops, buckets, and so on. Since they are identical, we will not include their costs in this equation. From the mark removal test, we know that the competitive pad required 161% more time to remove the marks. Translate this into labor hours, and you would require approximately 5 hours or an additional 3 hours to strip the 1,000 square foot room. The additional labor costs using the competitive pad equals $135 for a total labor cost of $225. If you were to use one Scotch-Brite stripping pad, which costs $7.50, and one competitive pad, which was provided free, your total cost to strip 1,000 square feet is $97.50 using 3M pads, $225 using a free competitive pad. You reduce your labor costs by $127.50 or 56% by using 3M Scotch-Brite pads. In the floor maintenance business, where only 10% of overall cost is associated with equipment and supplies, it is false economy to purchase products such as floor pads using the price of the pads as the main criteria for selection. The true bargain pad that will improve or hold your bottom line is the one that delivers the best return on your investment in terms of performance, productivity, and product life. It pays to be quality conscious when material costs represent a minor portion of your operating costs. How do you find the best pads for your operation? Be selective. Gather information and do your own testing. Compare pad performance on the floor where it matters most, and look for time and quality of work performed before you make your decision. While price is important, it should not be the only consideration.